Today we're doing another viewer suggested engine video, and this one's going to be a little different because we're starting in the car building side of automation. Because yes, we're doing one car and one engine, well, two engines and one car really, but it is going to be a little different. So we're starting with the first comment that goes as follows: can you do a twin charged 2-liter engine, meaning 4-cylinder engine that makes 1000 horsepower, and put it into a hypercar and sell it for under $1 million? And I said no problem, and I think I can do that. So we're starting with this beautiful machine here, and let's go build the engine. Because this little engine is going to be a little different. It's going to be a pretty high horsepower machine, meaning 1000 horsepower, so we need good internals and also a proper amount of flow. And this is going to be our first twin charged 4-cylinder engine that we have done on the channel in its history. So I'm pretty excited about this, so hopefully you're excited. Striping is going to be a little longer video, so yeah, enjoy. As you can see here, we're setting up our supercharger and turbocharger setup. It looking pretty good. I think we can add a lot of power to this whole engine, but I think we're going to keep it to 1000 horsepower for now. Maybe in the future I'll rebuild it and then we can push it way harder than we are going to do right now. So I'm going to keep this engine somewhat tame. Maybe we come back in the future and push this thing way beyond its regular limits. Maybe we slap some spicy fuel in it and then we make a boatload of power. But that's for future references, and you would love to see that. Tell me down below in the comments what you would like to see about that. And also, if you have a viewer suggested engine that you would love to see on the channel, let me know down below, then I can make it happen if it is feasible. So yeah, thank you. Good suggestion. So, we are making almost 500 horsepower here, if the engine just plays nicely. Okay. And some of our components are pretty damn stressed. We're at 81.5% reliability, which that's pretty damn good. And we are gonna build the car as well in a little bit. Then we're gonna test that car and then we move on to the next engine, which I'm pretty excited about that engine. Because that engine is a let go of all sanity type engine. So you just have to wait for that one. So yes, thank you. Pushing well over 630 horsepower, almost 700 horsepower on 2.1 bar of boost, which that is pretty on par for this type of engine. So we are slowly but surely getting to 1000. I think I'm not going to push past 1000 much. We're at 815 now, so that's we're getting up there now. We're at also a pretty astounding 80.4% reliability, which I think is probably going to go down to like 75 at most, or 65 perhaps, if we push the engine pretty damn hard. And also you have to keep in mind we're having this thing to almost 11,000 RPM, which that's high for an engine like this. Yes, it's only 2 liters big, but it's still a very high RPM. The engines that I typically reference for this variation of power is of course the K20 and K24 engines. I would love to get my hands on one of those, but in due time I'll probably do a real life engine build if I get my hands on a K20 or K24 or something similar. Maybe something you guys have never seen before. Maybe I'll do that. And perhaps the next chapter of this channel's history is gonna be, well, we're just gonna have to see for that one. But yes, we're making well over 1000 horsepower, but I think we need to make it a little more responsive because we're getting into boost around 11 to 12. So we're gonna have to make it a little more responsive, as I'd like to be in boost around, I'll actually say around 4000 RPM, 3000 RPM, around there. I would love to be in boost. So we'll have to see about that. I think we can. Let's see. Okay, this thing is doing pretty damn good so far. Okay. So I'm just gonna up the springless attention a little more, because we have a little more spoolage, but not much. As you'll see here on the graph on the turbocharger. There's not much to look at per se, but it looks okay for what it is, given that we're making 1000 horsepower. So yeah, let's look at, let's see, compressor map perhaps. Yeah, so that was pretty much the compressor map we're looking at. So now we're going to move on to doing two dyno runs, one looking at the beautiful engine, one looking at the graph. So hopefully this thing sounds good, and I think it's going to be a little different because twin charged. What a different sounding engine this thing is. So now we're going to move over and yeah, slap this thing in a chassis, and hopefully this thing will fly. So for our chassis, I'm going to run quickly through building it and making sure everything is somewhat okay spec, because I think this thing's price is going to be probably under $500,000 actually, for something that is ridiculously fast and something that is well mannered, I believe. Because we are using all-wheel drive, and I think you can go rear-wheel drive and do all that, but what's the fun in that, in my opinion? I like all-wheel drive because it is fun. And you never have to worry about spinning unless you're doing something dumb. Because, well, not dumb, I would say. If you're gonna hoon responsibly, as a particular company that everybody knows has said in the past. So, and I follow that. And, you know, it's pretty good. Anyway. 400 more rotors on the front, probably going to do the same on the rear, given that this thing is a bit of a hooligan to stop. Given that we have a 1000 horsepower 2-liter engine. And I've seen the Jaguar, that thing a Jaguar made, that 2-liter, I can't think of the name right now. Anyways, if you know the name of the vehicle that Jaguar did, let me know down below. That mid-engine of something of sort, I can't remember. It is the thing that I did was with a 2-liter engine that made 1000 horsepower or something like that. Which that's pretty nuts to do with a 2-liter 4-cylinder, but then again, you look at any K series, it's pretty nuts. I believe the Ecotec engines are also 2-liter. Anyway, enough rambling. We're trying to make this thing pretty light, so I'm not doing too much for the interior. For suspension, I'm doing active, comfort, semi-adaptive suspension. Probably gonna leave it on sport. And this thing is pretty much set up. I want to see what we're costing before we go mess with this thing. If I can find the right freaking slider. There we go. Costing $242,000 so far. That is very low. For something that has 1000 horsepower as mid-engine. And now we're gonna make it look good by simple editing, and 3, 2, 1, and there we go. Beautiful. With the magic of editing, we have a car now that's fully built. This thing actually took me like a half hour to do, so yeah, just letting you know that. So we're gonna go see what this thing costs now. It's $252,000. And let's see what $252,000 can do around the track. So the track of choice is going to be the regular GP circuit, or Grand Prix circuit. Yeah, we're going to do it 5 times X, so let's see what this thing does. So there we go, 1 minute 41 and 45 milliseconds. That is pretty damn fast for a car that only costs $252,000. I think that's a pretty good place to leave it, and let's move on to our next particularly crazy engine. And this particular engine, oh, this thing can do 470 kilometers an hour. Jeez, that's pretty nuts. We also have a 9.48 quarter mile, so yeah, this is pretty good news. So let's move over to our next engine, which is gonna be the following comment. Can you build a V10 or V12 6-liter engine that on turbos, my goodness, on nitromethane with turbos and all the wonderful stuff that comes with that? And I say yes, yes I can. And we're gonna do this thing extra spicy. So I'm hoping for around 8,000 horsepower, considering that this thing has twin turbos now. And we have played with turbos in the past a lot. I mean, this is not my first time building a V10 by any sort. So yes, thank you for that viewer suggested engine. I think this thing is absolutely awesome. Yes, we're running nitromethane. This thing is going to be nuts. I can't wait. So let's see. Nope, up there. There we go. We rev this thing to 10.6, so we're probably going to do... I don't think we're going to rev it that hard. Yeah, around 9 to 10 would be fine, I think. Because, yeah, things aren't that stressed. But can you imagine hearing this thing at full tilt, an NA V10 at 12 or 8 or 10,000 RPM? It's gonna be nuts. I think any V10 with proper exhaust can sound freaking nuts. I do think that wholeheartedly. Some V10s, yes, others not. Like the M5 the engine out of the M5 had old, I think it's an S65 engine. Perhaps I've done an engine like that. Anyway, that thing has ITBs. Freaking ITBs. That's awesome. ITBs sound the best. And also heard that, maybe you guys can correct me, but when you have ITBs on a vehicle, you feel the pedals a little more heavier, per se. If it is an older mechanical style throttle linkage, like the RBs and a couple other engines. But enough rambling, enough spiraling. So let's add more spring and lifted tension and whack the boost up. So I have a feeling this thing is gonna make our number either close to it or right on the money, without, well, breaking the engine too much. Because we are at a very good 84.7 now. Well, the percent reliability, so I like to keep that as a frame of reference. And also, the boost doesn't come in too late though. Around at least 5,000 RPM, so it's not too terrible. Making almost 5,000 horsepower now. So let's add a little more exhaust side. And let's increase more boost, I believe. Once we've messed with the top end a little bit. Everything is somewhat stressed now, so that's normal. 10.5. Let's see. Dropping compression a little more. And there's always a fine balance between lowering compression and adding boost. As I don't like sometimes to do too low compression, but given that this thing does not have a purpose per se, this engine's only purpose is to make a crap load of power. Or as I like to put it, a dyno princess. Because this thing is a dyno princess. Doesn't have shit for power band. It's just gonna have basically nothing and everything at one moment. I believe it's gonna be around just over 2000 RPM, given that, meaning our RPM window for power is gonna probably be 2000 RPM, give or take. A split before we're out of it. So maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right, but in past cases I know I was right. Given that that V6 that I built, that 1.6 V6, that F1 engine, that thing was nuts. And perhaps I'll do probably a new version of that engine soon, given that we have had updates to how basically coding and everything else in the background works. Maybe I'll mess with it in the near future. Maybe. Anyways. 5,700 horsepower. We're going down a little bit. If you can hear any background noise, I do apologize for that. Stupid birds, they're annoying. So I think we're gonna go back to the top end and drop some compression a little more. Okay, that does not help. Let's see. Maybe more boost will help. We're probably gonna max out all these sliders to be completely hesitant on how much this thing is gonna be nuts for. Almost 6,000 horsepower and now it's starting to taper. So I believe the taper is caused by spring and left tension being too low. I also had 72.9, 70 to 71% reliability, which is, yeah, that's nuts. Just by lowering compression some more, we are almost at 6,700 horsepower. Which, if you really think about it, is freaking crazy. We're out of spring and left tension, so we're just gonna lower our RPM and just whack it from there. Because boost fixes most problems. Okay, that is not happy. We're gonna have to lower RPM again. See what I was talking about, our tiny window for power being about 2 to 4,000 RPM large. So I was wrong a little bit, but did not see it as gonna be 2,000 RPM. It's now gonna be 4,000 RPM. So I mean, still pretty close per se, but I think it will be fine. I think so. Yeah, we're pretty much just gonna go and lower RPM again. We're out of it, out of spring and left tension completely. So maybe if we make a couple of things different, maybe it will help. I don't think it's gonna help. No. Maybe we lower fuel a little bit or increase fuel a little bit. Yeah, that's not doing much. Yeah, we're out of it now. 5 bar of boost, 7,300 horsepower. I don't think we're gonna get more out of it. I really don't think so. So yeah, so we're probably gonna move on to the dyno now. After I mess with a couple more things, and then we'll see what this thing sounds like. Because I think this thing's gonna sound like a freaking menace. 6 liter V10 menace. Which, yeah. So we're gonna do 2 dyno runs, one looking at this beautiful engine and one looking at the graph. So let's see what this thing sounds like. Yeah, this engine sounds freaking awesome. Thank you so much for watching. If you stayed to this part of the video, first of all, thank you so much. And second of all, hit that subscribe button and like the video, because I've got a feeling you would love it around here. But anyways guys, that's all from me for today. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye bye.